Hello and welcome to my garden and the dinosaurs who live there. Well, in a lull in the rain showers that we're getting this weekend, I thought I would take the opportunity to show you around the garden and just give you some updates on some things that maybe I've not talked about for a while, or things that are newly happening in the garden. So hope you enjoy. Here on the deck, I've got two tomatoes. I've got Yellow Delight and Ace, and the Yellow Delight is now starting to fruit, which is nice. Still a long way to go, but yeah, getting some fruits, which is lovely. And I just wanted to show you this hosta, the hosta that's in a big pot on the deck. It's just plain green, but the plain green ones seem to be the ones that survive the slugs and snails a bit better. The damage on these leaves has generally been because it's flopped over, but it's been blown around. But look at the flowers on this. It's flowering amazingly well. You can see those. And there's a bee. A bee, yay! Oh, two bees. Fantastic. So yeah, good old hosta flowers. The bees are loving them. So here's my wigwam of Borlotti beans. Finally, they are tracking up the canes. And yeah, not doing much other than that. Is that little flowers? I think that might be the start of some flowers happening. It is a bit of an effort to try and keep the snails off these. I come out in the evening, and even although there's that sort of straw-based stuff that was meant to stop slugs going across it, and also oyster shell, the snails just meander across it anyway. Honestly, I think we've got super snails here that don't feel pain. The pain of going across sharp oyster shell, because they just go on these things and have a good old munch. You can see one down there that's just succumbed. So yeah, so might get a few, never grown them before, so we shall see. Over here, the French beans are in a worse state. I came out here last night and I got about 6 snails out of here, 2 of which were already sitting on leaves munching away. I don't know whether I'll manage to keep these alive long enough for them to give me anything, to be truthful. But it's been an experience. I've started off some more salad. So here we can see Speedy Mix and winter something? Winter greens. And I've started off a few things actually to try and get some successional crops. We've got down here some winter greens as well. I'm just keeping these in here at the moment, and I'll see where I'll put them once they get a bit more established. And here is some iceberg lettuce. And there's some spring onions there. Don't know whether they'll come to much. Yeah. Carrots seem to be doing quite well still. The 2 outside pots, that one and that one, have been in for a while, and the middle one's one that's a bit newer. They're all different varieties, and I think Tender Snacks on the right, Nantes and a number, Nantes 5 on the left, and in the middle we have, I've forgotten it again, forgotten the name of it again, another variety. There's some beetroot there, some turnip here that I'm going to get a bit bigger and then put out somewhere. and some spinach beet and more spinach beet there. Yeah, these are a couple of my hostas that I grew from seed that are eventually starting to grow a little bit bigger. This is a bought one, this is a dinky bought one, which at £10 for that, you can see why I'm growing my own. Although I do love hostas. This one's called Frosted Mini Hearts. So that will grow, you know, come on, great guns year on year. But yeah, it's teensy just now. Here in the potting shed, here are some of the young jade plants that I propagated from a big jade plant last year. And there's the leaf cuttings that I took last week. And here we have some of my baby hostas, and these were all grown from seeds that I got from my hostas last autumn. They have been proving quite challenging to actually get to grow. I've not got a high germination rate, and at the moment these ones all seem like they're just plain green. But as they get bigger, I think we might see a few changes in the leaf colour. That one there, for example, looks like it might have some cream in it. But it's great fun and exciting to, you know, once you do get some seedlings, to see what they're going to turn out like. There's another little tiny one here. Oh, you can't see that. There we go. So I still have got loads of hosta seed actually. So if anyone wants to have a shot at growing hostas from seed, just let me know and I'll gather some seed this year from my hostas, and if anyone wants any, just let me know, and you can have a try as well and see if you get on any better than I do. I think probably the best way I've found is to use the sort of damp kitchen roll and you know, put them in a, you know, put some seeds on that, fold it over, put it in a poly bag, leave it somewhere warm in a windowsill or even on a heated mat or propagator, and that gets you at least the germination happening. But they take ages to grow. They're teensy tiny. I've got some turnip in this basin now. This is just to stop the squirrels getting in and digging them up while they're so young. I don't know whether I'll probably leave them in here. It's not that deep. Do we think that's deep enough to grow some turnip? If they're little ones, hopefully it will be. We'll see. So I'll maybe thin it out a little bit more and see if I can get a few little turnips in a basin, because you know, the garden's full of stuff and I've only a limited amount of space in actual beds to grow veg, so I have to do a lot of container gardening and container growing of veg, so a lot of the time it's a bit hit and miss until I sort of establish what grows best in what shape and size of pot. So yeah, so this is the first time I'm going to try these little turnips in a basin. We shall see. Tomatoes. Here's my tomato grow house. It's not the brightest, but then again it's not the brightest day. Lots of foliage action happening. Starting to get a variety of tomatoes growing. You can see some over there. I remind you, this is July the 28th, and that's the size of my tomatoes. Quite frustrating, but hopefully they'll come. Please let us get some sun in August. please let us get some sun in August. So yeah, there's a variety of types of tomato in there. The ones that are doing best are the Sun Gold right now, but I always find Sun Gold grows quite well up here. I've got Ace, which has got some tomatoes on as well. So yeah, not the fastest. These have been... This is the Sun Gold grown from seed that I took from the Sun Gold F1 last year. I hope they're actually going to get to fruition. They're taking their time. But yes. So I have constructed another cage for the top of my second sleeper bed here. Just used old poles that were previously used in plastic grow houses that are no more. Really sturdy, really happy with it. And in here, at the back there's a couple of Romanesco cauliflowers. And then we have some broccoli, claret, that broccoli is called. So that's just arrived. I didn't grow this one from seed. This is one that I bought in. And yeah, I hope that this will survive the winter. But first of all, it's got to survive its smallness in there, and I do hope that it doesn't get eaten by any slugs or snails in there, but at least the birds and the butterflies can't get at them, or I should say the caterpillars. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with this. Yep, so that's the second one set up, and hopefully that will be nice and sturdy and last the winter. In this little trough next to the cage, unfortunately the girls got at some of my beetroot there. I've got 3 celeriac and 3 beetroot. So we've got one little beet in there. I'll be harvesting soon. And another one there. And this one has been denuded a little bit. But hopefully we'll get something. There were a number of beets in each of the stations, and I've just been thinning them out because it's far too small to have that. In fact, there's another one, I'll just pull that out. And the girls have been getting the leaves, so that's been good. The celeriac, never grown them before. The celeriac, looking okay. Not forming anything, not quite yet, but yeah, happy with those. Happy with those. This is some more broccoli in this cage. This is meant to give me broccoli this year, but I was very late in putting this in, so we shall see. And I've got some more young beetroot plants in there, so hopefully we'll get some beetroot from that. I do like beetroot. Potatoes. So I've harvested quite a lot of potatoes, but I've still got some Estima and some pink fir apple to harvest. Maybe do the Estima this week, and the pink fir apple I will leave until I get back from a little holiday that I'm going on for a few days after next weekend. Then these are 3 pots of pink fir apple that I planted immediately I had harvested the previous potatoes that were in. This one isn't. There we go. This is one that I didn't add any fertiliser to, and these 2 had potato fertiliser added, and you can see the difference there already with the foliage. And then we've got some Nicola potatoes. 20th of July these went in, and a pot of Charlotte, and I've got a pot of Maris Peer somewhere as well. I'm trying to see if I can get another round of potatoes this year. We'll see, because I imagine the wet weather initially and then the cold weather later in the year will make it quite a challenge, because I don't really have anywhere indoors to put these, and I don't know whether my grow house, I think probably I'll have to take the grow house down, because I don't think it'll survive the winter since it's plastic, but we'll see. So it's going to be fleece that I'm going to be using to try and keep these frost free if we do get early frosts this year. Yeah, so we'll see. I've not tried to grow potatoes, a second batch of potatoes in a year, and I'm quite excited about it. And even if I only get a few from each pot, that's perfectly fine. It's all about trying. And while I'm talking about potatoes, in this raised bed down here, my daisies are getting in the way, I had a variety of things in here, but I've emptied those out now and harvested the beetroot, etc. that was in here. And what I've done instead is I've put potatoes in. So I've got Nicola at the back, or one half of it, and I've got Maris Peer in this half of it. And we'll see how we got on. I'll top that up more as the potatoes show, or even before the potatoes show actually, we'll see. I'll just need to get some compost and top that up. And it's sort of sheltered down here, so we shall see. Yeah, so more potatoes in the offing. I must just show you my big buddleia before the flowers all go over, but loads and loads of flowers on this. And it smells really nice actually, and I know that, I mean, these grow, you know, in the wild really, really easily. But it's nice having this in the garden to attract butterflies and bees, none of which I've seen for ages due to the crap weather. But yeah, it's nice, it's doing well, really pleased with it. I'll cut off the heads as they completely, you know, go over in the hope that we can sustain flowering for a bit longer. So the white onions that I planted this year are these Picobello, and the ones in tubs are doing quite nicely actually. They've got a sort of reasonably sized bulb to them. This bed though here was the second potager bed, and so in here, as well as the Picobello onions, there is garlic, and there was pansies, and there was radish. It was just a bit jam-packed by the time everything grew up, so the onions in here aren't quite as large as the others, but still a respectable size, or certainly an edible size. So they're all a bit flattened at the minute, and some of that's probably the weather we've had, and some of that is that they're just falling over. They're wanting to be harvested. I've just noticed actually, looky here, so that one's going to, oh, actually, and looky there, so a couple of them, oh no, another one have gone to, oh actually that's garlic, that's not the onions. Okay, phew. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this bed completely. I'm going to get the garlic out, I'm going to get the onions out, and prepare the bed, because I'm going to put other stuff in here. I'm not quite sure what's going to go in here. Probably is going to be some of the Romanesco cauliflowers, and if I've got room, maybe a couple of broccoli plants as well. I've got some overwintering, if that's probably the term you would use for it, broccoli coming shortly. So yeah, I'm going to harvest the onions. I've got Carmen red onions kicking about as well, but most of those I've eaten because a lot of them went to seed, and some are in pots, and I'll get those as well. But the best harvest has been with Picobello. So I'll show you what I got in a moment. Okay, so here's my modest little crop of onions and some of the garlic. So, you know, small onions, Picobello, and the red ones are Carmen. And I'm actually happy I got garlic at all, given that, you know, I did put it in this year. It didn't have the cold snap that it needed to grow, which I would usually do. Don't know what happened at the beginning of this year. Anyway, perfect little harvest for me. I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to put it somewhere, lay it out to dry it off, and yeah, that will keep me going for a little while. I'm very happy with that, and I have got space now to put other things in. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, if you click subscribe, you can follow me on my chicken keeping and gardening journey. Bye bye for now.